I feel like it went over. We are live and ready when you are, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, looks like we are back in session here and ready to come out of executive session. So I'll go ahead and look for a motion for that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to come out of executive session with no action taken.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to come out of executive session with no action taken by Sweat, second by Mr. Nathan. All those in favor, Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Sweat,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, so we are out of executive session now, and I'll just do a quick summary. We did, again, we had no action taken. We were in a session to discuss matters pertaining to the Jackaloff dock. And then we, at that time, the only thing we did was give direction to our attorney to work with the city manager on some additional signage out at the dock. And at this point, we'll go ahead and have, we will go ahead and come back to council as part of our regular agenda here, see if there's any additional council comments, and then we'll go ahead and open it up to the public for any comments from the public regarding Jackaloff Dock. Okay, was there any additional comments, questions by council before we move to the public? Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to the public then. See if there's anyone that cares to comment on the Jackaloff Dock. Looks like you have one hand there, Mako.
Yes, and thank you. We're gonna click on people and hit allow to talk, which should notify you that you've been granted permission to speak. So if you could then state your name for the record before you begin your discussion, that would be great. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we've got you, Mako.
Okay, great. Well, I read a little bit. First of all, I'd like to thank you for reaching out to me, but mostly to the water taxis, and I really appreciate that. I'd like to thank you for considering us. I'm not exactly sure where we're at in this whole situation or what exactly is the issue, if there is an issue, but the dock is basically our main landing point for transporting people across the bay. So is the dock important to us? Yes, but we can live without it. I think it's more of a convenience for not just the water taxi. I don't think it's as much of a convenience for the water taxis as it is for our passengers. And so I consider, Jackaloff will always be our primary landing point, always, because of the time involved. And also, there's a slight weather change there off of Barbara Point, and it's just easier for us to make a quick transit and protected waters over to Jackaloff. So Jackaloff will always be our landing point. If there's a dock there, all the better. other than that, from a water taxi point of view, Jackaloff is always going to be there, and whether it has a dock or not, we land on we land on beaches all day long. So the dock isn't critical to us. Having said that, it seems to me that it is infrastructure for the city of Solovia, and that's just my opinion. And I'm not a resident. If I was a resident of Solovia, I'd probably be sitting in that room right now and talking about how important that dock is to the infrastructure of Solovia. And if that dock goes away, and I don't know what you guys discussed in executive session, so I don't know what you guys are talking about, but if that dock went away and in the future you decided that that dock was a good thing, trying to put a dock back into a place would be a bureaucratic nightmare as far as I'm concerned. I think that's the way it is. And then earlier tonight, I heard Assemblyman Tupper mention infrastructure projects, shovel ready or whatever, and that if maintaining or rebuilding that dock is a priority to the city of Solovia, then maybe that might be one of the projects that the city of Solovia might be interested in submitting for infrastructure help and money. So anyway, that's my testimony. Thanks again for reaching out to me. I really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Mako. I appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts with us on that. Did anyone have any questions or comments for Mako while we got him on the line here?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, you bet, Vivian.
Yeah, Mako, thanks for joining us tonight. We've had a couple of your captains who kind of shared with us also that they can live without the dock because you land on the beach. And so that was something that it's been in discussion about. Well, how are the water taxis, if the dock went away out there, how would they have to deal with it, or how would it be for them? But if I'm hearing you correctly, if the dock weren't there, you could still continue your business and land on the beach as you do at other places throughout Kachemak Bay, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I think if we're talking about inconvenience, I think it would inconvenience the passengers more than it would inconvenience us.
Right. And you as a skipper coming into that dock and seeing that it's worse in the wintertime, what's your take on it? The structure.
Well, that dock is always it's always been a good landing spot for us. That's my take. I have no complaints about the dock as it is now, but I haven't got down on my hands and knees and examined it. But it's always been a good landing spot for the boat. It's a busy place in the summer, and sometimes even though the dock is there and there may not be any available space, so we wind up going to the beach anyway.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian, and thank you again, Mako. All right, anyone else? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mako. Appreciate it again. Heidi, anyone else from the public that wishes to comment on the Jackaloff Bay dock?
Yes, it looks like we have Mr. Jordan Cameron.
Okay. Yeah, Jordan, if you can hear me, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to speak as a member of the community because, I go back and forth on boat, my personal boat, and I use, forecasts and all that stuff to judge my coming and going. And during the winter, I have, limited windows to transit between Solovia and Homer. And quite frequently, the weather isn't quite exactly how, it's anticipated to be. And Jackaloff has always been a available outlet if the weather is where I can't make it back to Solovia, or if I have freight or something like that, and it shifts on deck, and I need to be able to go into a safe harbor, I can go to Jackaloff and either drop off my family or tie up. And it's pretty important to me to have that outlet so that if there is a mistake and I can't make it all the way back to town, I can go to Jackaloff. And I also use Jackaloff as a water taxi, and quite frequently I observe that the passengers are senior citizens, and I don't see senior citizens with their pants dangling down by their waist, climbing up and down ladders over the bow of Canterbury water taxi boats and packing all their boxes of groceries up the beach. So the non-dock landings are for summer folks and hardy winter people that live off grid in remote bays, not Solovia residents that are looking to get to Homer to get cheap groceries. And we've had public safety officers go back and forth using that facility. We've hauled dead people. We've had medevacs. People that when the weather's poor and they work in Prudhoe Bay or at gold mines, they use that to make their connections so they can go to work or come home for holidays or to see their family. And there's a multitude of reasons why that facility is important to the city. And I honestly believe that if you were to take the city's recordings or minutes for the reason why they took ownership of that and why they decided it was so vital, that having that facility become non-existent should not be in consideration. And that, if you're going to have to dig deep and find a way to keep it in service till you can replace it instead of just doing without, because Mako says he can land his boat on the beach. There's set netters that use that dock in the summer. Of course, plenty of tourists. There's local residents that never use town. They go between Jackaloff and Homer and never go to Solovia City. That's just the way it is. There's a lot of folks out at McDonald Spit that don't need to come to town. They just use the Jackaloff Harbor. And, that's great for them. I think that's a vital part of our infrastructure. It's commerce, it's convenience, it's safety. It's a safe harbor for boats. There's many things to it. And I think people are gonna have to dig deep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate your comments on that and your perspective. Looks like we have Cassidy Cameron also.
Yes, and if you could, again, state your name for the record, because we've had people that have spoken under names that wasn't their name. So When we've allowed permission to talk, please state your name for the record.
Sure. Thank you guys very much. My name's Cassidy Cameron, and I'm a resident of Solovia. And while my husband just made some really great points about Jackaloff, I concur that it is vital infrastructure that the city and our surrounding community uses on a regular basis. And I'm hoping that if there's a will, there's a way. And I hope that the will is leaning towards finding funding to rehabilitate the existing dock through possible infrastructure, this infrastructure bill, or I know that there's a safety grant that's out there for Homeland Security. That could be a possibility, but I hope that the council leans towards rehabilitating what they have and making sure that it's in service and in use, because it is critical. It's not just for tourists, it's for EMS. It's for people to get back and forth, and where our access to our community is limited to begin with, especially with the Tustamina and ferry service at a minimum. We need as many ways to get back and forth and as easy as possible. So I hope that the council considers that way instead of mothballing it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cassidy. Appreciate the information. Okay, Heidi, anyone else?
I'm not seeing any more hands raised at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that being said, we'll go ahead and bring the discussion back to council to see if if the council does want to do anything additional tonight, or if there's any other final comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
I think hearing the three testimonies that we got tonight, I would hope there would be more people to discuss this item. I think valid points were made about the use of Jackaloff, and I think there's information that's needed to be put on both sides of the table about where we're sitting. And so I would hope in the future we can continue this dialogue and the facts can get to the public about what we're looking at for Jackaloff Dock. And right, it's been there since 1977 or before. And back then they used to skiff people from that dock into Jackaloff to load the log ships. So it's been around for a while and does have its needs, but it also has reached it's been there a long time. So anyhow, I'm hoping we can have a lot more discussion, and just proves to me that we need to, if we haven't done already, do a better job getting information out to folks, or if we have, then good for us, and people need to seek out that information. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vivian. Anyone else on council? All right, well, we don't have a lot of enthusiasm here tonight on doing anything further here. Bobby, did you have something you want to comment on?
Well, I was just wondering, I thought we already discussed, last time we talked about this, about an informational thing we were going to be sending out. Is that still to folks in town and the water taxis and folks that we know use that dock out there? Is that happening?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Sweat, that was going to come before council as a draft at a meeting in January.
Oh, that's right.
You
Okay.
guys asked to see it before it got issued out to the public, and so with the short turnaround time, so we're still aiming for January for you to review an informational brief.
That's right. I remember that. And on that note, who is going to be getting that? Is it just the folks in Solovia, or how do you determine who you send that to?
Through the mayor, council can say, we want you to send it to X, Y, and Z. Of course, we can just put it in every post office box holder's box. like we've done with the grader. That was an example that someone brought up of, can we do informational pamphlets like that to distribute information? Council can come up with another recommendation for who they would like to receive the information outside of people registered with a PO box.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be a little different because it's also going to include, or I would assume it's going to have to include people outside of town that use, or the larger users of Jackaloff Dock. And I'm just wondering how would we get that to those folks? That information.
Yeah, short of a property record search or something like that through the borough.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it'll be a little cumbersome.
Yeah.
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Mayor,
Harmony.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, hang on, John. Go ahead, Harmony, then I'll come right back to you, John.
It's actually
Okay.
not very hard. How you can just get email the Peninsula Clerk's office and just get property owner, like a mailing list for property owners, and they can just send that right to her for like the service area. I don't know if you're wanting to get a comprehensive list of everybody who lives
Like
within
everybody in the RSA or something.
in the Sursa.
Okay, that might.
I've done that. It's very simple.
Okay, well, that sounds like it might be something easy too then. Yep. John, go ahead and then I'll come back to you, George. Yeah.
hey, I just wanted to thank the Camerons and Mako himself for their input today. And I'd like to hear more input, from the property owners out the road. And I'm certainly not advocating we abandon the Jackaloff dock in any sort. I think we need to have a lot more discussions about that. And in fact, I rely on that dock myself pretty heavily in the winter time. And I hate to see that go away, but there's certain things that are going to have to be in place, I think, before, and we're going to have to come up with a lot better, short-term plan, and maybe in different phases to move forward with that out there. And certainly it could also have a lot to do with, Soldovia's future as well. So like I said, I'd like to hear more input. So, if we could get something out to those property owners. I know the map program I have, if you click on on each parcel, you can get the address of the folks that are paying the tax on that property. So that information should be pretty easy, easily available to do as some type of bulk mailing.
Okay, thank you, John. George?
Folks that live out the road get their mail at the post office. And if we just stuck our flyer in every box, which is pretty commonly done, you're gonna get all the permanent residents anyway.
Right. All right, so I guess then to summarize here, where we're at, I mean, we've known, it's public record here that we've had, there's the dock's in pretty, well, the dock is the way it has been for a long time. It's got issues here and there. We've had a conditional survey done that's basically come back and said it has very limited amount of time left, 3 to 5 years. And as a result of that, we can't get insurance for vessels over 27 feet to come to that dock. So we've got, we're working on implementing some signage to let the public know that if you're in a vessel or transiting that dock over 27 feet, that you can't tie up to that dock. That's what we're asking of the general public. Everything else right now stays status quo. And council is going to continue to work with the public and come up with a plan on how we address the disposition of the dock going forward. So that's kind of my take right now where we're at today. So any other comments or follow up to that? And then I would anticipate that this will be back on the next agenda. Do you anticipate you would have that, that mailer, I mean, on the first, in our first January 10th meeting? That informational packet for our January 10th meeting?
I hope so.
Okay. And then at that meeting, yeah, we're gonna obviously have to do some more homework between now and then, and this will have to be back on the agenda at that time. So, and I don't think, I mean, yeah, we're not taking any action tonight, so we don't even need, I mean, we're not really postponing it. It's just gonna remain an action item with no action tonight.
That's just fine, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is everyone on council in concurrence with that? Okay,
I'm
no
good with it.
objections from you guys, John, Vivian?
Nope, I'm good with it.
I'm good with it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's, yeah, that's where it lies tonight then. And then if everyone's good with that, we'll move on to the next discussion, and that's item M2, the 2021 variance request for Blodgett, and we'll go ahead and have a presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just wanted to ask the city clerk to see if Mr. Blodgett was in the audience.
I do not see him at the audience, in the audience at this time, but Mr. Blodgett, if you are in the audience, could you please raise your hand or dial *6? Nope, I'm not seeing any movement or anybody with that name in the audience at this time.
So Mayor, because the applicant isn't in attendance, we did inform him at least 3 times of the meeting being tonight. But given probably the length of the meetings we had before this, perhaps he couldn't make it, so we can delay. We're ready to go if council would like to hear this topic, or we could delay until he can be in attendance to discuss his application.
Okay. What else do we have tonight? We've got a couple of things. What do you guys want to do?
I think we should take
Oops,
this
go ahead,
up.
George. Yeah.
I think we should take this up when he's present. That'll solve a lot of problems that we might have.
Yeah, I'm
if he's
sure there's
not
going to be
here.
a whole lot of unanswered questions if we start digging into this. Now I know it's for informational only, and it's my understanding that it's because the packet's not 100% complete to make a decision on or take action, and some of that may be solved or cleared up by what he would tell us. So, yeah, I'm fine to, given where we're at already here. We'll be going on 3 hours here before too long. Well, we're at 4 hours right now. So, if you guys are fine with postponing,
Can I make a motion to move this item to the next regular city council meeting?
yeah. How is that agenda? Is that?
Well, you would move to postpone, and then it would come up at the next meeting, and I hate to say it, but you can continue to postpone things as much as you need, as long as they just keep coming up on the agenda. That's what the postpone motion does. So move
Yeah,
to
and-
postpone, it's on the next agenda.
Okay. You want to go and do that? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I move to postpone? Postpone?
Yep, until the next regularly scheduled meeting
Mhm.
on January 10th.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion from Peyton to postpone until this subject until the January 10th meeting, second by Kennedy. All those in favor? Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Sweat,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, so we will go ahead and motion passes. So that's postponed until the January 10th meeting. Item M3, review administration protocols concerning the distribution of COVID-19 at-home test kits provided by the state of Alaska, and city manager can go ahead and take this.
Thank you, Mayor. So in your packet on page 158 is the draft distribution administrative policy for the at-home COVID-19 test kits that the city received from the state of Alaska at no cost. So while this is within the administrative realm, I wanted council's support of the policy that's drafted in order to distribute the test. So I can just go over the bullet points in your packet. You'll see that policy as well as a waiver form for folks to sign when picking up the kits. And that's on page 160. So in essence, we're saying these are available to all Solovia residents, whether you're in city limits, outside of city limits. It's also available to visitors because testing overall is a great thing for the community to do. Everyone benefits from increased testing in the community. And so if we have a visitor that's in town that doesn't consider Solovia residents, it's still great that we can provide a resource so that they can test, especially if they've been around other Soldovians. We can provide council with data about the distribution of the tests, how many we've given out. We can do that through the manager's report. People can pick them up at the city office during our normal hours. People have to sign the waiver, and then we'll also provide them with a at-home testing information flyer that the state generates. For residents, we're going to limit the tests to up to 2 test kits per household. And the household is defined by the census as all people who occupy a single housing unit, regardless of their relationship to one another. For visitors, it'll be 1 per visitor. So that's defined as someone who does not consider Solovia to be their permanent place of residence. If a household has already received its 2 test kits, but people of that household are exhibiting symptoms defined by the CDC as COVID-19 symptoms, or they have recently traveled outside of Solovia, they can receive an additional 2. Because while it's a limited resource, COVID doesn't choose who it hits. And so if there's someone in our community, even if they've already received kits, we're trying to encourage proactive testing. So that's the reason why that measure is there. The public can share the results with the city, but the city won't take any additional measures, which means basically if you're positive and you know you've been in touch with other people that are close contacts, it's up to you to do the contact tracing. The city will not do that on your behalf. Any member that tests positive is encouraged to contact their healthcare provider. Our executive assistant, Diane Gruber, marked all of the test kits with do not resale or not for resale, and the kits can't freeze. So that's just an overall summary of the policy and some information. Next, you have the acknowledgement form, the waiver that just acknowledges basically all of that information, and it also holds harmless the city from providing someone this resource. Just ensures that they acknowledge that they're doing it at their own will. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I was just looking for council's input and support.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Any questions, comments from council?
Yeah. So you say 2 per household, is that no matter what, I can just come down and have 2 to have on hand at my house?
Correct. So for the first round, yes, it's up to 2 per household.
Okay.
And that's it, unless someone in your household is showing symptoms. So say you've already used your kits and you need more because someone is showing COVID-like symptoms, then you
Right.
can come down and get 2 more per occurrence.
Okay,
And
per occurrence.
per
So-
occurrence.
Right. I mean, the only time, obviously, if I'm sick again, I can't get tested elsewhere. I can come back
Right.
essentially as many times as I need to.
Right. And the hope is, there's even something on here on the acknowledgement form. Let's see. I understand that these test kits are available on a limited supply through the city and will be considerate of the process put in place in order to ensure access to this resource by other Soldovians and visitors. So hopefully it's like, if you realize that, perhaps you're a frequent flyer, you're out of Solovia a lot, maybe it's up to you to buy some tests then.
Right.
Versus like using the city's resource.
Okay.
So having that level of considerateness.
Okay. I like it. There is one small typo on line 19. I think your second will is supposed to be a with. But I like it. I'm glad that this is a resource
Oh,
we can
nice.
It's
have.
19 of the first page, yeah, of the first part of it, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep, go ahead, John.
is there an expiration date on those kits?
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
2023. I can't remember the month. I want to say it's June.
Okay, well, I like it. Let's move forward.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it. I think it's a great, providing the city with protection. I think it's a great process we're going through. I definitely support it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian. George, did you have a comment? That's
I
all right.
was gonna ask about shelf life for the kits.
Oh, okay.
John got that, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just offer comment too. I think it's a good idea. We started using these up at our camp as well because we ran into a problem with people coming up with symptoms. We've had a number of COVID cases in our camp, and we've had a number of situations where the clinics closed on the weekends, similar to what we are here. Someone gets sick on a Friday afternoon or something, and they can't test for a couple days, and then so the faster you can test and come up with a positive, the quicker you can start isolation and all that. So yeah, I think this is a proactive approach. And so far, my 2 cents on accuracy. So far, when someone's used one of these and is tested positive, and then we've had a follow-up, either state test or an additional rapid, it's confirmed. It's been right on the money for these. So these are the Abbott ones, correct?
I can't remember. It's either Binex or Abbott. the
Okay,
white
we've been
box.
using the Abbott ones. We've been having good luck so far. So, but yeah, I think this is a good idea, and I'm in full support of moving this forward.
And we'll keep requesting them too, because there is supply. So, hopefully not everyone rushes out tomorrow to get their 2, because it's up to 2. So that we're trying to make sure that we have kits available for everyone who needs them. But if there's a huge demand, then we can work to the best of our abilities to get more. So
Okay.
we'll do our best.
Okay. Sounds good. Yep, Bobby.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think this is a great idea, and glad you're doing it, and I'm in full support of this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if we don't have anyone else, we'll go to the public on this. Anyone from the public care to comment?
Yes, we have Miss Laurel Hiltz. And again, if you could state your name for the record.
Hi, this is Laurel Hiltz. So my understanding through conversations with the city manager and with Crystal Collier, CEO of Solovia Village Tribe, the intent has been to jointly release these kits. Between the city and the tribe, we have enough kits for every household that's in the area through this winter season, so for those folks that are here year round, and I heard the city manager mentioning visitors and guests to the area as well. But with the council's approval for the city's action, I hope our plan is that we'll be moving forward with all of us getting those kits released out to the communities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laurel.
What did she say?
Talking about the tribe releasing additional kits as well, is what I understood.
I didn't catch the end of what she
That's-
said.
Hey, Laurel, are you still there?
Sure thing. Did I say it out there?
Well, you faded off. I heard that you were hoping that the if I caught that correctly, the tribe was going to release additional kits as well. Did I catch that right? Or
Right. So we have been waiting for this to come before the city council, for the city council to give approval to the city manager for the city of Solovia to release your kits. And the discussion with our CEO and your city manager had been that would be a concurrent release. So given approval from the city council for the city manager to step forward, we're certainly ready to release our kits as well. So glad to do it, get them out to the community.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Holtz. We weren't sure what you said. For sure, a joint release. We're definitely happy to work with you guys. I hadn't heard, we had asked for feedback from you guys by Monday and I hadn't heard anything. So that's the only reason why I didn't bring up SVT, but for sure internally, the whole plan has been to do it jointly with you guys.
Oh, okay. I'll go back and look through our email, but I had responded about a week and a half ago.
we've been
That
having
we
all
were
kinds of
released at-
technical difficulties here lately. So
Okay. Yeah.
right, well, that's-
we're ready. We're ready when you are. We're more than happy to get it out there. So thank you.
okay, well that's good news. Appreciate that, and that's nice to know that there's going to be a multitude of assets in terms of tests getting distributed out to the community. So appreciate that information. Okay, anyone else, Heidi, from the public that wishes to speak?
I'm not seeing any more hands raised at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council for final action. We can get a motion from someone to move this forward.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, go ahead, Vivian.
I'll make a motion that we recommend that the administration of the city of Solovia distribute the COVID-19 at-home test kits provided by the state of Alaska.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to request the city administration to go ahead and release the test kits. And based on the information that was provided tonight in the packet, and then a second by Sweat. Any additional discussion before we vote? Okay, all those in favor, Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Sweat,
aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. All right, you guys got your green light on that. And that'll bring us back to the resolution 22-20 that was removed from the consent agenda. It's your new item M4, resolution 22-20. And Vivian, I'll just let you go ahead and jump right into it since you were the one that requested it be moved for discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make an amendment to this resolution 22-20.
Okay.
Okay,
Now,
Shall I go-
okay, hold on, point of order here.
Yep.
Real quick, Heidi. So now we've removed it from the consent agenda. It's down here. We probably need to, do we need to move to adopt before we can actually start amending, or what do we do here?
Yes, correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, yep. So Vivian, before you amend, let's go ahead and move to adopt to get it before us, and then we can just start the regular legislative process.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 22-20.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Okay, we have a motion before us to adopt motion 22-20 with a second by Sweat. And is there additional discussion on resolution 22-20 before we vote? Vivian, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment to council's third large priority to include the Solovia Safe Roads Program and the dam/reservoir as other major capital projects the city could consider leveraging with the ARPA funding.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, so we have an amendment offered by Rojas to amend the third large priority to include Solovia Roads program, the dam inspection program, and other large capital projects that may be leveraged by the dollars. And I can't remember the exact wording of the third large program. So let's go ahead and then and have some discussion on the amendment. If you want to speak to your amendment, Vivian.
Yeah, I would, yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that if we add a couple of more projects that are on our docket anyhow, putting them in this major medical or major capital projects with the possibility of leveraging with ARPA funds, it would put us in a better position. It's just two more items to be put into that, our third large priority. It's just to include it, just to give us more boundaries to work with. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. And real quick here, yeah, I was trying to get my thoughts started out here. So on our large priorities right now, as the way it stands after our discussion last time, it just said leverage ARPA funding for major capital projects such as water, sewer, or broadband services. So what Vivian's asking to do is include Solovia Roads, dam, the roads and the dam, as well as any other large projects that may be beneficial. So it's not changing our intent. It's just kind of elaborating on it. So.
Right. Andy, thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. George?
Yeah, does the road project still include, or in this amendment, does the road project still include the pile of gravel we were talking about buying just to, so we'd be able to buy that grader, and then we found out that we couldn't,
Through the mayor, Councilmember Nathan. So council adopted a resolution this fiscal year establishing the Solovia Safe Roads Program. So what that program does, and I have a draft for you. It's actually in the manager's report. A shout out to a former city employee, John Kennedy, because he helped compile the initial information. But in the spring, the city is going to be seeking public comment on the ranking of roads in order of highest need or priority for maintenance. And so it's not buying any material. It's just setting up a program so that the city can say when we do have funding, which this infrastructure bill does have funding for road improvements in it. So when there is funding available, the city has a shovel ready basically plan of like, okay, when we get the money, we've already got public opinion, input from X, Y, and Z that these are the roads that need the work first. So that's the intent of the roads program. And then the grader is a part of that, because in order to do a lot of those improvements, you need a reliable road grader.
great, thank you. I just recall that had a specific order for gravel, a pile of gravel that was in it. And I just want to be sure that wasn't still a part of that.
Correct. We're
It
not
is
buying
Okay. thank you.
any material yet.
Okay, thank you, George. Harmony, go ahead.
So that's one of the things I was thinking about earlier when I was looking at your ARPA funding. If we're beefing up our list, can we throw in our city dock upgrades on that? There's a lot of, are we looking for shovel ready projects that we can present? That's a capital project.
So we could certainly do that. It's a little bit of semantics here because of the language. So we've originally we said leverage ARPA funding for major capital projects such as, right? And then we started. So now we're elaborating. But I think the last part of Vivian's language, just so we don't have a never ending list here, was the other large projects. And certainly the harbor would fall into that absolutely would fall into that category. So I think her motion has us covered. Any council member could bring that back up. And I'm certainly the manager will, if there's an opportunity out there, we should know about it. But I think we're covered in terms of the actual motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on the amendment? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and vote on the amendment. All those in favor, Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Sweat,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, amendment passes. I think these people are getting tired over here. Okay, the amendment passes 6-0. That brings us back to the main motion as amended. Is there any further discussion on the main motion as amended? Okay, if none, we'll go ahead and vote on the main motion as amended. All those in favor, Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
Sweat,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes as amended, 6-0. And you guys are all getting clear on that? Okay, and you captured all that language, Heidi? Okay, perfect. All right, that was item M4. That was the last of our legislation. That'll take us to item N, city manager's report. And this will be in the standalone and the lay down package. Go ahead, Rachel.
Package or packet?
It's a package.
It is a package. Thank you so much. I'm gonna share my screen here. It says I'm sharing it now.
It's probably the 4-minute standard lag time that we have.
Let's see. Here, Radzie, I can try again. Oh, my Zoom just shut down. I am on the Solovia City Council. Okay, I'm back on. Let's try sharing my screen again. All right, there we go. So bear with me because it's worth it. So the first part of the manager's report is talking about this really great data that our city clerk Heidi Gagel helped administration compile in regards to sales tax revenue. So I believe it was Councilmember Sweat that asked for information. And so the city clerk didn't just take it back a couple fiscal years, she took it back to fiscal year 14. So that's ending June 30th of 2014. So basically July 1 of 2013 up until today, we can see how the city of Solovia has been faring quarter by quarter in terms of sales tax revenue. And you can see already fiscal year 22 as having significant strides ahead of the previous fiscal years. And I just wanted to point something out. This data that you're looking at, it looks as though this revenue was generated in Q3, but this is when the city received the money. So really the blue bar is the result of Q2. So that money was generated between April 1st and June 30th, and then the city received it between July 1, September 30th. So our biggest quarters on paper look like it's the third and fourth quarter, when really it's the second and the third. And so here's another way of looking at that information. Here's a comparison of how the sales tax is done. This is just a different perspective. So same information, one received. And already fiscal year 22, again, significantly higher compared to other fiscal years. There are some interesting trends in the graph, like curious what happened in fiscal year 14 and then why our sales tax decreased when you look at, for example, the Q4, which is really Q3 revenue, but the orange bar, you see it's increasing, and then starting in FY 20 and 21 COVID, you can see it's decreased. But interesting why we started out so high in fiscal year 14 for Q3, which is really Q2 revenue, and then decreased. And then, you know, there may be other trends or questions that council has, but just wanted to make sure that you saw this. And then the city clerk also got us, these are actually the dollars. So taking it from the visual realm and bringing it just to numbers for you in case you would like to see that. But here's our property tax revenue, real property tax revenue received. And as noted, this will let me zoom out. During the fiscal year 21, the borough informed the city that the city of Soldovia's property assessment roll decreased by $1.4 million, which meant a loss of $10,500 in property tax revenue. So for fiscal year 22, we anticipated receiving a little over $273,000 in revenue to account for that decrease in the assessment roll, and also to account for the fact that not everyone pays their property tax bill when it's actually due. So we're hoping that, and as you can see, we're pretty close to it already so far, that we would have at least $273,000 in property tax revenue for this fiscal year. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but that was the first part of the manager's report, was just going over that information for council. I had a great meeting with Councilmember Payton, especially getting her involved more with the chamber and thinking of ways that the city and the chamber can work even more together. next year is the city's 60th anniversary as a first-class city. And so Councilmember Payton will be taking hopefully the sales tax information you just saw and that information to the chamber to see is there a way that the city can work with the chamber and the community to celebrate that municipal milestone. The city staff tried applying for some lost revenue COVID funds. The state legislature appropriated 50 million to help cities recover lost revenue. But because the cities, based on their pre-formulated worksheets, lost revenue was only 6.9%, we didn't qualify. You had to be at least over, you had to be 10% or over in order to get that. But I just wanted to share with council, we've been trying to pursue various grants or other opportunities for COVID funding. I wrote in here about the conference that both myself and the city clerk attended, the AML local government conference, but something I wanted to draw your attention to was I received a really good piece of feedback that for the city to be positioned well for all of this infrastructure funding that's coming our way. And I've talked to the council before, so when Assemblymember Tupper brought up shovel-ready projects, I think I've shared with the council that I feel concerned that I don't have as many as I would like. But I received feedback that you don't necessarily need a whole slew of shovel-ready projects. You could have a capital improvement plan. And that's what you submit to state and federal delegation. And we don't have that yet either, but it's a top priority to have that done the spring. Because then that's what they use, like Senator Murkowski or Senator Sullivan or Congressman Young use to advocate for additional funding or earmarking money for Alaska. So that was a good piece of feedback is if you don't have shovel ready, have a CIP. And your CIP have multiple categories so that multiple things can be number one. So don't have like one category where it's 1 through 10, have 10 categories 1 through 3. So then you have many number ones because that looks really good for granting agencies. And then also Senator Stevens' office gave us feedback that for the legislature for capital funding this upcoming session, we should submit a good sized wish list. So previously, like the past few fiscal years, the city's strategy has been only ask for a few things, like only ask for 3 things, only ask for 4 things, only ask for the number one thing. So for example, over 5 fiscal years, the city had been asking for money for a grader. And then I think it was fiscal year 20, we're like, we're just gonna ask for the grader. But now the senator's office is saying, don't give us one thing, give us a portfolio of requests. So we'll be working on that at the start of the new year. I'm skipping ahead here. And just giving council a heads up that for your upcoming January and February meetings, we're going to be talking about the Solovia Permanent Fund, having a work session on that and how council wants to proceed with management of the fund, partnership with CIRSA, establishing a public partnership with the city, budget discussions, figuring out fund balance targets and reserves for the general fund and the special revenue funds, approving the financing option for the road grader, parking at the Solovia Small Boat Harbor, reviewing the draft of the capital improvement plan, awarding the contract for the city's periodic safety inspection of the reservoir/dam. So there's a lot ahead. So just giving you guys a heads up to really enjoy the holiday season because you're going to be doing a lot of reading. I'd like to take a moment to pass the mic to Radzi to give you guys an update on something he's been working on.
So long ago, so since quite a while ago, there have been problems. I'm talking about internet here. For a long time, there's been problems with internet starting in Solovia space. I can tell you what the nature of the problems are, but I don't think it's all that relevant. And when council chambers got the internet service here, this has problems that you know about. And I've gotten a bunch of calls to correct problems, internet related problems that cause eDispatch not to work. And when I looked into it, I found in addition that there were 4 different internet services that the city was paying for in this building for quite a bit of money. So I presented a proposal to Rachel on ways to improve the service while decreasing the cost.
It's good.
And better service. what the download time, I think you were saying, Radzi, the upload time and download time of
Right now, we've
megabytes?
got ACS service has an asymmetric bandwidth. So the upload speed is very important for Zoom meetings and so on. And it's very, very limited in the different plans. It's somewhere between 2 and 3 times. The download speed is somewhere between 2 and 3 times the upload speed. So if we increase something, we really need to focus more on the upload speed than with the download speed.
So improvements are headed our way. I just wanted to give Radzi a prop for the city, looking out for the city and coming up with ways to efficientize our operations. So that's something that we have in the works. The Solovia Safe Roads program is underway, so I'm hoping that the first draft will be out for public review in February or March. Community conversations on Solovia Police Department. I'm hoping that you can join Chief Hawkins and I for an upcoming meeting series regarding specific topics concerning law enforcement. Our first one will be January 27th from noon to 1:15 regarding understanding Solovia Police Department's relationship to the Alaska State Troopers. So again, this is a topic that we had with the troopers during a town hall, and then we received feedback that it would have been great to have more opportunities for dialogue with the public. And so hopefully that'll be an opportunity for people to participate in. And then I wanted to give you guys really quick a verbal update of that planning commission meeting that Assemblymember Tupper touched on. So last week I attended the evening Borough Planning Commission meeting, and a few changes happened. One of them is that now that the Borough Planning Commission is going from 11 seats to 14 seats, so that all 5 first class and home rule cities have a designated seat, and all single member districts have a seat as well. So Funny River, for example, that's a single member district. They're going to have individual seats as well. So it takes the number up to 14. The borough is allowed to advertise. It's not that the city couldn't advertise too, but the borough wants to take a little bit more ownership and advertising the opportunity to ensure that the cities and districts are regularly inviting the public for opportunities like being the Borough Planning Commission representative. Cities can only be represented by a resident. So you have to be a Solovia resident. You can't be from Homer or Kenai and fill the Solovia seat. That doesn't apply for the single districts. They can be filled by someone who's not from their area if they can't find someone from that area that wants to do it. And there was an amendment that sought to restrict who could be the borough representative, that sought to restrict the mayor, the council, or planning commissioners from the local level from holding that seat, and that got shot down. So win-win all around. I think that Mayor Pierce was just trying to draw attention to the fact that there needs to be more of an active effort in securing or inviting individuals to participate in civic engagement opportunities. And so for Solovia, we can definitely advertise the seat. I think with Chair Carluccio, when she was still at the city, she would just keep throwing her name in the hat. So it was easy for us to say, great, because it's hard for us to get someone who wants to be on the planning commission anyways. I mean, that's why council was going to hear the variance tonight, because we don't have an active commission. But in the future, whenever that opportunity is there, even if the chair still wants it, we should make a practice of still advertising it out. So that's it. There's other things in the manager's report, but I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Any questions, comments for the city manager? George?
That law enforcement meeting that you were talking about, what does that, what's that all about?
So there was a feedback a few months ago that showed there was some questions or comments about how law enforcement works in Solovia. And so it's an opportunity to bring specific topics to the public and discuss them more openly in like an informal meeting. So it'll be a lunch hour meeting, even less informal than the town hall meeting. For example, there's been feedback given that, or an impression that either myself or the police chief are regulating more stringently services provided outside of city limits. When there's feedback in the contract that the council authorized the city to enter into that regulates how those services are provided. And so just having more conversations that share resources like that, or perhaps going over what the department used to be like back in the day versus how it is now, and get feedback from the public, what they liked, what they would like to see more of. Just an opportunity to have more dialogue on law enforcement with the community.
Well, we kind of went over this before in the first seminar that we had. The folks that are making the most noise are not residents of the city. I think we should do everything we can for folks out the road, but at some point, we're constrained by what the state wants us to do, A, and B, our police chief is the Solovia police chief. He's not the out the road police chief. I think we're providing all the services that we can out there. I wonder how much more we're expected to do, or what other complaints we're going to hear. I mean, what are we going to gain by reaching out more to folks out the road?
I think it creates like another opportunity for community members, because it is a service that touches everyone in Soldovia, to come learn, have an opportunity to engage with the police chief, especially on a specific topic they may have questions on. So it's kind of like how council's been asking for me to engage with the community more, reach out to other members of the community. It just provides another opportunity to meet the Soldovia police chief and the city manager. Let's talk about law enforcement in Soldovia. There's been a lot of questions about certain changes or stipulations in contracts. So it just provides another opportunity for people to come together.
When you say community, you're not talking about Soldovia.
Well, it's open to anyone though. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just our police chief also is under contract with the troopers to provide service to the people in the greater Soldovia area.
Absolutely.
So I believe that we should just be mindful of the fact that they also have buy-in and interest and need to benefit from the services of a police officer. So I think this is a great opportunity to you should definitely attend.
Me?
Yeah, you should.
Perhaps. I just see us spending a lot of time and effort responding to, I don't want to say demands, but our hands are pretty well tied. What we can do by the contract, the state has been pretty specific this time around about what response we can make. And
I think it's appropriate to have as much dialogue as necessary with the public.
our public.
It's a PR effort. All right. Thank you, George. Anyone else? Questions or comments for the manager? Bobby?
I have a couple questions for Rachel. The first one is, I asked this question before about that infrastructure money. We could try to get some of that or add Jackaloff Dock to our list, right?
Correct. Through the
Okay.
mayor, thank you, Councilmember Sweat, for bringing that up. Yes, I spoke with a DOT planner who said yes, for certain, the city could pursue funding for Jackaloff Bay Dock with the infrastructure bill and the money that's coming out, and perhaps even jointly apply for funding for the harbor as well.
Right. That'd be great. We might as well try. Yeah. And then I remember you saying, reading at one of our meetings, you were going to be asking the state troopers for some more money, like around 60,000, for a total of $60,000 or something. Did
the
you get
mayor-
laughed at?
Councilmember Sweat, we did that. We did that, I want to say in October, and I haven't heard back from the troopers yet, but I've been keeping our state delegation in the loop because I'm assuming it involves their commissioner and possible budgetary discussions. So I haven't heard back from them yet, but I haven't lost sight of that. So
Oh,
we've made the
okay.
request. We just haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
So you didn't get an immediate rejection letter?
Nope, no
Okay.
immediate
No,
rejection.
but it's
letter.
because they're probably on the floor rolling still, laughing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments for the manager? Okay, thank you, Rachel. As always, good in-depth report, lots of information and a lot of additional reading material here tonight. Let's see, item O, informational items not requiring action. The city office will be closed on Thursday, December 23rd in observance of Christmas Eve, and closed Friday, December 24th in observance of Christmas Day. The December 27th, 2021 regularly scheduled city council meeting will not be held. And item P, executive session, none. Item Q, council and mayor comments concerning items not on the agenda. Kennedy.
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, Swick. Peyton,
Good night.
Nathan,
I don't have anything else either.
Sweat.
Yeah, as usual, thank you guys for everything that you presented tonight. And Heidi, I wanted to, and I keep forgetting to congratulate you on that thing you got at that meeting.
It's late. Forgive her.
So congratulations.
Oh, boy. Okay. Vivian.
Yeah, congratulations, Heidi, on your award. Yeah, good work for everyone tonight. Great meeting. Nice job, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for all your attention and concern for Solovia. Good night.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. Okay, yeah, I'll just end it up here. Thank you, staff. Appreciate the presentation. I know there's a lot of information. Got almost through everything tonight. Obviously, we'll deal with the variance requests at the next meeting. A lot more work ahead of us on Jackaloff. Appreciate everyone's input on that. Let's see. So we'll look, next meeting is January 10th. So that will be 2022. That'll be in the new year. And I'll look for motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any objections? None heard. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
Good night.